Acharya Stodashi Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki, Anant Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki, Prem Sakho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki, Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki, Vrindavan Dham ki, Mayapur Nadip Dham ki, Jagannath Puri Dham ki, Ganga Mai ki, Yamuna Mai ki, Bhakti Devi ki, Tulsi Maharani ki, Sambit Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki. All glories to assembled devotees Hare Krishna, all glories to assembled devotees Hare Krishna, all glories to assembled devotees Hare Krishna, all glories to Shri Guru and Gaura. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devam Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashta Prayesha Badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtaki Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrachatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsya Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, revision from yesterday.
Hare Krishna. So first of all, Swayambhu Muni glorified the Brahmanas, and then
Kardam Muni.
Kardam Muni and the Brahmanas, how great are the Brahmanas, and then in reciprocation, then Kardam Muni glorified. I guess first Kardam Muni told the duties of Kshatriya, how Swayambhu Muni has been perfectly doing the duties. Then he glorified he said the duties of Brahmana and how great Brahmana is.
Okay, good. Something else?
We are discussing regarding culture. That giving respect, and based on that we can cultivate that devotional practices.
Okay, good.
You are telling regarding cooperation, how Srila Prabhupada has stated it, and because of this, although now differences are there, still it is continuing. And also regarding Brahmana and Kshatriyas, how Brahmana protects Kshatriyas by heart, Vishwanath Chakravarti, and Kshatriyas protected by hands.
Right. Okay, online.
Prabhuji, you said that the favor of the spiritual master is not received through any other part of the body, but ears. That was very striking.
Ouch.
Okay.
Prabhupada writes.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so did you read that purport? 4th canto, 30th chapter, 8th verse? कोई पढ़ता नहीं. ठीक है, अभी पढ़ो, अभी पढ़ो. बाद में तो कोई पढ़ेगा नहीं. पढ़ो.
Translation: The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear sons of the King, I am very much pleased by the friendly relationships among you. All of you are engaged in one occupation, devotional service. I am so pleased with your mutual friendship that I wish you all good fortune. Now you may ask a benediction of me." Purport: Since the son of King Prachini Bharishat were all united in Krishna consciousness, the Lord was very pleased with them. Each and every one of the sons of the king Prashini Bharishad was an individual soul, but they were united in offering transcendental service to the Lord. The unity of the individual souls attempting to satisfy the Supreme Lord or rendering service to the Lord is real unity. In the material world, such unity is not possible. Even though people may officially unite, they all have different interests. In the United Nations, for instance, all the nations have their particular national ambitions and consequently they cannot be united. Disunity between individual souls is so strong within this material world that even a society of Krishna consciousness members sometimes appear disunited due to their having different opinions and leaning towards material things. Actually, in Krishna consciousness, there cannot be two opinions. There is only one goal: to serve Krishna to one's best ability. If there is some disagreement over service, such disagreement is to be taken as spiritual. Those who are actually engaged in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be disunited in any circumstance. This makes the Supreme Personality of Godhead very happy and willing to award all kinds of benediction to his devotees, as indicated in this verse. We can see that the Lord is immediately prepared to award all benedictions to the sons of King Prachini Bharishat.
या समझ में.
In Krishna consciousness, we are united, and the
Why?
soul, because the goal is to please Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Right. So there can be different opinions. Prabhupada is very clearly saying there can be different opinions, but what is one? Goal is one. Goal is one, to satisfy Krishna. So having different opinions is not wrong, because individual souls will tend to have different opinions. So no problem with that. But the goal should be one. Then even though there are different opinions, then they will somehow compromise and come to whatever pleases Krishna the best. Okay. So we have seen how Swayambhu Manu, he glorifies his daughter, how she is the sister of Uttanapad and Priyavrat, and she has all the good qualities. And so therefore, he says that so this offer has come out of his own accord, so therefore you should not refuse it. Otherwise, later on you'll have to go begging. So that is not very respectable. Okay, we'll continue with text 15. Third canto, chapter 22, text 15. ऋषिरुवाच बाडम् उद्वोडुकामोऽहम् अप्रत्ता च तवात्मजा avayor anuruposav adyo vaivahiko vidhi. The great sage replied, certainly I have a desire to marry, and your daughter has not yet married or given her word to anyone. Therefore, our marriage according to the Vedic system can take place. So Kardamuni is agreeing to the marriage. Prabhupada writes, there were many considerations by Kardamuni before accepting the daughter of Swayambhu Manu. Most important is that Devati had first of all fixed her mind on marrying him. She did not choose to have any other man as her husband. That is a great consideration because female psychology dictates that when a woman offers her heart to a man for the first time, it is very difficult for her to take it back. So that's one consideration. Second is also she had not married before. She was a virgin girl. All these considerations convinced Kardamuni to accept her. Srila Prabhupada says in some lectures that he was a student of psychology in his college days. You heard that? Prabhupada says in some lectures, he was a student of psychology. So therefore he's writing about psychology, woman psychology. These are all Prabhupada's special points. You won't find anywhere else. Talks about so many practical things. Okay, therefore he said, yes, I shall accept your daughter under religious regulations of marriage. And then he talks about different kinds of marriages. Okay, let's go ahead. 16. Okay, read translations now. Few translations will read.
16. Let your daughter's desire for marriage, which is recognized in the Vedic scriptures, be fulfilled. Who would not accept her hand? She is so beautiful that by her bodily luster alone, she excels the beauty of her ornaments.
Okay, so Kardamuni is accepting that Devati was very beautiful. Prabhupada writes, to give a daughter in charity to a suitable son-in-law is considered to be one of the pious activities of a householder. And he talks about 8 forms of marriage mentioned in Manusmriti, but only one process of marriage, the Brahma or Rajasic marriage, is now current. So this means that arranged marriage with, yes, others are forbidden in this age. So therefore, none of those types of marriages will be successful. Okay, so what was the beauty he's explaining in the next verse? Read.
I have heard that Vishwavasu, the great Gandharva, his mind stupefied with infatuation, fell from his airplane after seeing your daughter playing with a ball on the roof of the palace. For she was indeed beautiful with her tinkling ankle bells and her eyes moving to and fro.
So anyway, so that was her beauty, that this Gandharva, he was captivated by her beauty. Prabhupada talks about airplanes and helicopters in those days. So, and he also says that the building must have been very high, like a skyscraper. Therefore, he could see from top, otherwise how he could see? So all these were there in those times. Not that it's modern invention. Anyway, Vishwanath Thakur makes a slightly different point about this falling down. So here, of course, he takes it, Srila Prabhupada takes it in a literal sense, that he was so captivated he fell down. And Vishwanath Thakur says he fell down in a spiritual sense, because it's an offense. He says, because of his great offense in looking at her with attachment, he received immediate results of that offense by falling. So, seems to have looked a little lustily at her. So that turned out to be an offense. Anyway. Okay. 18.
Okay. What wise man would not welcome her? The very ornament of womanhood, the beloved daughter of Swayambhu Manu. and sister of Uttanapath. Those who have not worshipped the gracious feet of the goddess of fortune cannot even perceive her, yet she has come of her own accord to seek my hand.
So, so therefore, he is saying, Kardamuni is saying that actually it is very rare to even see this Devuti. But because he worshipped Narayan and Lakshmi, therefore, he is able to see her. Vishwanath Chakravarti writes this, she cannot be seen by those who do not worship Lakshmi. I have worshipped the feet of Lakshmi, the consort of my deity Narayan, and thus I can see her, but no one else can. And so he says, Vishwavasu moving in the sky saw only the effulgence of her beauty, but not her personally. So even to see her requires qualification. So Kardamuni is saying, because I worshipped Lakshmi Narayan, therefore I could see. Vishwavasu only saw reflection of her beauty, but he got captivated by the reflection only. Okay, next.
Therefore, I shall accept this chaste girl as my wife, on the condition that after she bears semen from my body, I shall accept the life of devotional service accepted by the most perfect human beings. That process was described by Lord Vishnu. It is free from envy.
So yes, so he accepted to take her as his wife, but on one condition. What is that? After she gives birth to children, he will renounce. Okay. So Prabhupada talks about how one should not be a householder for the whole span of life, but then after getting children, one should renounce. In the next paragraph, Kardamuni desired to beget a child who would be a ray of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should beget a child who can perform the duties of Vishnu. Otherwise, there is no need to produce children. There are two kinds of children born of good fathers. One is educated in Krishna consciousness so that he can be delivered from the clutches of Maya in that very life. And the other is a ray of the Supreme Personality of God and teaches the world the ultimate goal of life. So both are successful marriages when they are such children. And next paragraph he says that after fulfilling his responsibility, produce a nice child, one should take sannyas, engage in the perfectional Paramahamsa stage. And then he talks about the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is called as Paramahamsa Samhita, the treatise for the highest class of human beings. The Paramahamsa is free from envy. In other stages, even in the householder stage of life, there is competition and envy. But since the activities of the human being in the Paramahamsa stage are completely engaged in Krishna consciousness or devotional service, there is no scope for envy. In the same order as Kardamuni, about 100 years ago, Thakur Bhaktivinoda also wanted to beget a child who could preach the philosophy and teachings of Lord Chaitanya to the fullest extent. By his praise to the Lord, he had as child Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, who at the present moment is preaching the philosophy of Lord Chaitanya throughout the entire world through his bona fide disciples. So you see, Srila Prabhupada never took credit for himself. So even though Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur has departed from the world, but what he's saying? He is only preaching. Who at the present moment is preaching? Through his bona fide disciples. Actually, this is the proper consciousness. So this is what we were discussing in the morning also. So there's the same mood. All the acharyas, you find same mood. So here we can see very clearly Srila Prabhupada is giving all credit to his Guru Maharaj. He's actually doing the preaching. I'm just instrument. So that's how one gets empowerment. Not disciple also. Disciples, yes. So he is not considering himself alone. Hmm. Okay, go ahead.
The highest authority for me is the unlimited Supreme Personality of Godhead, for whom this wonderful creation emanates and in whom its sustenance and dissolution rest. He is the origin of all Prajapatis, the personalities meant to produce living entities in this world.
Right. So he's saying that ultimately the Supreme Lord, he is the ultimate creator, maintainer, dissolution, he does everything. So therefore, I'm simply acting according to his plan. That's what Prabhupada writes. Kardamuni was ordered by his father, Prajapati, to produce children. And he is, of course, being controlled by Vishnu. And so therefore, Vishnu is the origin of everything. And so therefore, what he's saying is ultimately, all this is happening according to the Lord's plan. So therefore, Prabhupada writes, Kardamuni knew very well by his power and progressive spiritual life that Vishnu, the personality of Godhead, was his worshipable deity. Whatever Vishnu desired was his duty and nothing else. He was not prepared to beget a number of children. He would beget only one child who would help the mission of Vishnu. So that was his goal. So his goal was to produce a ray of Vishnu, only one child who would preach devotional service. So that was his goal. So that was the purpose for his marriage. So Vishwanath Thakur is giving an interesting angle. So he says the authority for this is the Lord alone, who arises in the memory of you and me. Or this is a response to the objection, your father's order was procreation, not renunciation. Because what he's saying, I'll renounce. After producing one child, I'll renounce. So objection could be raised that your father's order was procreation, not renunciation. So therefore, he says, the father of my father and others, the Lord, is the final authority. I will follow his order alone and not my father's order. So therefore, the ultimate father, that is the Supreme Lord, what is his order? 4 ashramas, correct? So not to remain as a grihastha. So after grihastha, there must be vanaprastha sannyas. That is chaturvarnya maya shishtam. That's what Krishna has said. So that is what he's saying. So he's saying, I'm not going to simply keep procreating children. That is what Brahma wanted. But he says, no, I'll follow the Supreme Lord's order. So therefore, after begetting children, I'll renounce. So therefore, Prabhupada is also writing, marrying and begetting a child is considered to liquidate one's debts to the family in which one is born. And then he's talking about many debts, we know, demigods, pitas, and so on. But if someone engages only in the service of the Supreme Lord, the personality of God is actually worshipable, then even without trying to liquidate other debts, one becomes free from all obligations. Kardamuni preferred to devote his life as a servant of the Lord in Paramahamsa knowledge and to beget a child only for that purpose, not to beget numberless children to fill up the vacancies in the universe. Okay, so now Maitreya is continuing. Okay, continue.
Sri Maitreya said, O great warrior Vidura, the sage Kardama said this much only and then became silent, thinking of his worshipable Lord Vishnu, who has a lotus on his navel. As he silently smiled, his face captured the mind of Dehahuti, who began to meditate upon the great sage.
So here Prabhupada writes, it appears that Kardamuni was fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness because as soon as he became silent, he at once began to think of Lord Vishnu. That is the way of Krishna consciousness. Pure devotees are so absorbed in thought of Krishna that they have no other engagement. Although they may seem to think or act otherwise, they are always thinking of Krishna. The smile of such a Krishna conscious person is so attractive that simply by smiling, he wins so many admirers, disciples, and followers. Interesting. So, okay, continue.
After having unmistakably known the decision of the queen as well as that of Dehuti, the emperor most gladly gave his daughter to the sage, whose host of virtues was equaled by hers.
Okay, so on the previous verse, Vishwanath Thakur is commenting on the warrior. What he says? Ugra Dhanvan, O great warrior Vidura. So he says, O fierce warrior Vidura, just as a warrior like you does not turn from battle, Kardama does not turn from the dharma recommended by the Lord. So that's the comparison. So therefore he's calling Vidura as warrior. Just as a warrior like you does not turn from battle. Maitreya is telling Vidura. Similarly, Kardama does not turn from dharma recommended by the Lord. The mind of Kardama became attracted by the smiling face of Devuti. From this is understood that Manu and his wife did not feel regret, lamenting that they had given their daughter to a renounced person. Okay, so then Swayambhu Manu handed over Devuti to Kardamuni. Next. Empress
Shatarupa lovingly gave most valuable presents suitable for the occasion, such as jewelry, cloths, and household articles in dowry to the bride and bridegroom.
So here Prabhupada is talking about dowry. So all these are modern day issues which Prabhupada addresses. So Prabhupada says the gifts are given according to the position of the father of the bride. So in some places in India, dowry is sort of forced, right? So it becomes a precondition. But that's not correct. Therefore, Prabhupada is addressing the issue. So it should be according to capacity. The father lovingly gives to the daughter. So it's not that the husband can force or demand. It's not like that. So according to the position of the father of the bride. So whatever is possible according to capacity, that is what is accepted. So everything becomes perverted in time. So just like the Varnashram system became perverted into yes, caste system. So that means one becomes a Brahmana by birth. So that's how over time things get perverted. So similarly, this dowry system also perverted. Now it has become sort of demand. But that's not the correct thing. So therefore further down also Prabhupada writes that yes, something should be given. The dowry system is not illegal, as some have tried to prove. The dowry is a gift given to the daughter by the father to show goodwill, and it is compulsory. So it is a system that's compulsory, but what is the proper mood that should be understood. So in rare cases where the father is completely unable to give a dowry, it is enjoined that he must at least give a fruit and a flower. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, God can also be pleased even by fruit and flower. When there's financial inability and no question of accumulating dowry by another means, one can give a fruit and flower for the satisfaction of the bridegroom. So it's like a gift, whatever, according to one's capacity. So it's not to be forced. So, these things have to be propagated in society so that once again the right conceptions, the right practices are once again restored. Therefore, Prabhupada is writing these things. Okay, continue.
Thus relieved of his responsibility by handing over his daughter to a suitable man, Swayambhu Manu, his mind agitated by feelings of separation, embraced his affectionate daughter with both his arms.
So he was feeling separation like father.
The emperor was unable to bear the separation of his daughter. Therefore, tears poured from his eyes again and again, drenching his daughter's head as he cried, "My dear mother, my dear daughter."
Prabhupada talks about how women should never be independent. Okay, next.
After asking and obtaining the great sage's permission to leave, the monarch mounted his chariot with his wife and started for his capital, followed by his retinue. Along the way, he saw the prosperity of the tranquil seas, beautiful hermitages on both the charming banks of Saraswati, the river so agreeable to saintly persons.
Okay. Rishikulas, Prabhupada says, there were neighborhoods called Rishikulas, where great saintly persons resided on the banks of the Ganges and the Yamuna. Go ahead.
Overjoyed to know of his arrival, his subjects came forth from Brahmavarta to greet their returning lord with songs, prayers, and musical instruments.
Okay, so now the king is being welcomed back to his capital, Barishmati, capital of Brahmavarta. So then there's some description of how he is being welcomed.
The city of Barismati, rich in all kinds of wealth, was so called because Lord Vishnu's hair dropped from his body when he manifested himself as Lord Bhor. As he shook his body, this very hair fell and turned into blades of evergreen kusha grass and kasha, another kind of grass used for mats, by means of which the sages worshipped Lord Vishnu after defeating the demons who had interfered with the performance of their sacrifices.
Okay, so that is why this place is called as Barishmati. So where the hairs of Vara fell and turned into Kusha and Kasha grass. Okay, continue.
Manu spread a seat of Kushas and Kashas and worshipped the Lord, the personality of Godhead, by whose grace he had obtained the rule of the terrestrial globe.
Okay, so Prabhupada writes here. Okay, read the purport.
Purport. Manu is the father of mankind. Therefore, from Manu comes the word man, or in Sanskrit, Manushya. Those who are in a better position in the world, have a sufficient wealth, should especially take lessons from Manu, who acknowledge his kingdom and opulence to be gifts from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus always engaged in devotional service. Similarly, the descendants of Manu, or human beings, especially those who are situated in a well-to-do condition, must consider that whatever riches they have are the gifts from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Those riches should be utilized for the service of the Lord in sacrifices performed to please Him. That is the way of utilizing wealth and opulence. No one can achieve wealth, opulence, good birth, a beautiful body, or nice education without the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, those who are in the possession of such valuable facilities must acknowledge their gratefulness to the Lord by worshipping Him and offering what they have received from Him. When such acknowledgement is given, either by a family, nation, or society, their abode becomes almost like Vaikuntha, and it becomes free from the operation of the threefold miseries of this material world. In the modern age, the mission of Krishna consciousness is for everyone to acknowledge the supremacy of Lord Krishna. Whatever one has in his possession must be considered a gift by the grace of the Lord. Everyone, therefore, should engage in devotional service through Krishna consciousness. If one wants to be happy and peaceful in this position, either as a householder or citizen or a member of human society, one must promote devotional service for the pleasure of the Lord.
Okay, so here it's mentioned that Swayambhu Manu accepted his kingdom as what? Yes. Yagya Purusham Labdha Sthanam Yataha Bhuvam. Yataha. So he accepted that he has got this kingdom from Lord Vishnu, Yagya Purusham. Okay, so here comes an important principle of gratitude. Okay, so note down some questions. So, what are the benefits of practicing gratitude in one's devotional life? वाह, कृपा सिंधु प्रभु हाथ को कागज बना दिया. Second, what are the consequences of not having gratitudes? And give Shastric examples. Shastric examples from Acharyas. ठीक है, 2 ग्रुप बनाओ. Or maybe for better discussion, I think so you do pairs. 2-2. ना तो 4 लोग हैं तो 2 लोग सो जाएंगे. हाँ. ओ, माइक को बंद करना है. Okay, take 5-6 minutes. हाँ, यहाँ कौन किसके साथ जा रहा है? Online, please do individually. Don't think you've escaped. Okay, finished? Oh, yeah? Okay. Where's the pen? Okay. Benefits. दूसरा pen है? बोलो 1 point.
By being grateful, we can accept the whatever is happening as the Lord's mercy.
Accept everything as Lord's mercy. So what's the benefit?
One will not become falsely proud.
Okay, fine. If one is grateful, one will not become falsely proud. Okay, good. Next.
Always conscious of what I have received to be returned back. Great. And peace of mind.
No, you said the other point.
Always conscious of what I have received to be returned back.
Okay, so that means one is in a mood of returning back. So one feels indebted, right? One feels indebted. And wants to return. Okay. Next. Why? क्या संबंध है? Okay, good point. Okay. Wholeheartedly rendering services. Because we want to return what we have received. Next.
He won't mind inconveniences in Bhakti's practice.
Why?
Because the seniors have taken inconvenience for him. So if he faces some inconvenience, he will.
So can tolerate inconveniences. Because he is inspired by others taking it. He's grateful. Okay. Here. Any other benefits?
One can overcome from his I am the doer, like that.
Okay. Okay, overcome doership mentality. Next.
Peace of mind.
What?
Because you are grateful, so you are not focusing on what you haven't got, but you are focusing what you have got. So your peace in mind.
Okay, so
Yeah.
materially peaceful.
Materially peaceful.
Because one is not focusing on what I don't have.
Hanji.
But one is grateful for what one has.
Hanji. Easy to say.
Can share credit easily to others.
Okay, good point. Can share grades. Because you know that's not mine. Okay, next.
He, by being grateful, he actually mutually respects each other. He cares for others' progress. He does not humiliate them, and he whatever in what position he is doing, he is accepting his. Yeah. Actually, he is in association of devotees. He can respect one another because
Respect. Okay, so respect, right?
because he is grateful. Actually, he knows that everybody is doing his individual capacity. I don't have to whatever Lord has given, he is doing that.
Right.
So he respects each other.
One respects others because one knows that others are contributing for my sustenance, for my progress. So one is grateful to others, then he can respect others. Any other points? Benefits? What? Oh well, it depends on what's your definition of positive and negative. But okay, and we are focusing on what we have received rather than thinking what I don't have. Correct? Yes. I just will cover that, isn't it? Okay, anyway, we can take that point. Focusing on what I have received rather than what I don't have. As we say, count your blessings. Other benefits?
Hare Krishna. He becomes humble because he sees that how I was before and how I am now. So, okay.
Yes. But that's a good point. Okay. So he understands who is responsible for my present good situation. Yes. Acknowledges others' role in my well-being. ठीक है. Consequences of not being grateful. Everything is opposite.
One can chant holy name.
Sorry, we forgot online. Tell.
Means to develop genuine humility is very difficult. Trinadapi suni chhe na. One time Rashampur was telling that by being grateful, that will make our heart gradually humble, and then we can actually chant the holy name properly. Otherwise, we will be disturbed in mind, cannot chant nicely.
Okay, so humility and help one to chant. Okay, better chanting. Online, anything else? Anything else online?
Relationship.
One can what? Oh, you're talking about consequences of. Okay, consequences. क्या बोल रहे? आपने कुछ बोला ना? Okay, rebellious nature. Okay, rebellious nature. Why?
One can be proud.
अरे इसको ये एक्सप्लेन करो. हाँ.
Yesterday you gave example of what is happened.
हाँ.
One was not hearing the Surya Master because he has graduated many people.
हाँ.
So he thought that they don't want me to grow.
हाँ.
So he is not really grateful that what I was and how I
Correct.
am now.
Okay, good point.
And the more ambitiousness, more is ready.
Correct. Okay, good point. Okay, next group.
He becomes an independent doer.
Okay, similar. Rebellious, independent.
Light as casual. He takes the situation casually.
Okay, right. So why it takes casually?
Because he thinks that there is no need to you just do your own work and be satisfied. There's no need to show too much gratitude to anyone. Be a self-doer and apne kaam se kaam.
So basically these two are related. So if one is thinking I am the independent doer, I am doing everything on my own, then why one will take devotional service seriously? Because devotional service means what? Dependent on the Lord. So if one is thinking I am the doer, then obviously the dependence on the Lord is not there.
Yes.
Next.
He loses whatever he got because of lack of gratitude.
Sir?
He loses whatever he got.
Okay, so he loses. Yes, loses mercy. And by losing mercy, one will lose so many things. Okay.
Then it will be difficult to cooperate with each other.
Yes, difficult to cooperate. Any other points? Okay, offenses, why? Offenses क्यों? Okay, not proper attitude, so therefore no gratitude towards others. So then there's positive offenses. That's correct.
He will not take chastisements in a right spirit, means because of not having gratitude.
Okay, so
no scope for improvement, means like that.
Okay, no scope for improvement, rectification. Of course, scope is there,
He
but
will
he
not.
doesn't accept.
Heart becomes like stone.
Okay, hard-hearted. You have something? Okay, online.
So the points are majorly covered. Only one example I was thinking. Indra and Brihaspati.
We have not yet come to examples. So who else is there online?
Two devotees are there.
Achha.
Pandurang Sharan Prabhu and Vilas Vadan.
Who's the other one?
Pandurang Sharan Prabhu.
Pandurang.
Prabhuji, this gratitude will help to maintain Vaishnava etiquette properly, and whole community can function properly then, naturally, and nobody would have to force the laws.
क्या समझ में नहीं आया?
Gratitude will help to maintain the Vaishnava etiquettes properly, and thus whole community can function properly. Else it will be chaos, and everybody has to force by the laws. Forcefully accept the rules, not understanding, not being grateful from heart.
Okay, so basically you're saying that they'll maintain Vaishnava etiquette, that with proper cooperation and all that.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Naturally, organically.
Okay, fine. So we already said that rebellious nature, difficult to cooperate.
Prabhupada mentions that it is sign of intelligence. Gratitude is sign of intelligence. Prabhupada mentions that.
Okay, fine. Okay, how to cultivate? Okay, we'll start with online. How to cultivate?
We should always remember what others have done for us. And if we just remember what we were before coming to Bhakti, just we can imagine in 1 second what was our face, what was our thought, what were our actions, and what is now. We immediately understand how much devotees have contributed in our life, and nothing belongs to us.
Okay, good. Okay, so always keeping in mind, remembering what I was before, what am I now, and who is responsible. Huh? Okay, here any other points? How to cultivate? How to cultivate?
By understanding and rarity of devotional service.
Okay, understanding rarity of devotional service. So one knows that I've got something rare, so I should be grateful.
By associating with those who have gratitude.
Okay, good association, very important. Yes.
By hearing from previous Acharya or own spiritual master what they had done for us.
Okay, by meditating, by hearing, reading what the acharyas have done for us. Yes, good point.
We can go through the prayers of Kunti Maharani, Prahlad Maharaj, how they have shown their gratitude, even though they have got undergone so many tribulations, but never they give
Okay, reading the prayers of the acharyas and the prayers of the Bhagavatam, seeing their example. Yes, so these are important points to cultivate gratitude. Some examples? Okay, online examples?
Prahlad Maharaj, he says that actually it is because of Narad Muni that I am getting, otherwise I am born in Asur Kula and so many things. Although he is only doing everything practically, but he is giving all credits to Narad Muni. Same way also, Srila Prabhupada also, just Swami Purport also we saw. He said that on the Vyas Puja day that you all are representative of my spiritual master. So he's completely taking himself away and giving credit to his guru and disciples, not taking anything to himself.
Okay, good points. Okay, good examples. So, Srila Prabhupada showing gratitude to spiritual master and his disciples. What was the other example you said?
Prahlad Maharaj.
Yes, Prahlad Maharaj wants to serve his spiritual master Narad Muni, who saved him from the material existence, which is like pit of snakes. Okay, some other examples?
Dhruv Maharaj, while going back, he was grateful to all the sages, and is even the stepmother who offended, he was concerned about that. And Prabhupada tells the story.
Yes, so Dhruv Maharaj was grateful to the sages, he respected them, he offered obeisances, and he was also respectful to?
The stepmother also. And
stepmother and?
His spiritual master, Narad Muni.
Narad Muni and?
The main mother.
Main mother.
You forgot the main person. So he was thinking, where is my mother? Suniti. And so the Vishnudutta showed she's already going in another airplane. Right. Some other examples?
Punar Mushika Bhava, Prabhupada tells that story of again become a mouse. So he was
yes,
not
if one is not grateful, yes. If one is not grateful, Punar Mushika Bhava, again become mouse. Yes.
Shivanand Sen. Nityanand Prabhu hit him on the chest, but still he was grateful.
Okay. Shivanand Sen grateful to Nityanand Prabhu. Arjun Parikshit Maharaj. क्या है?
Goswami is giving him association and narrating in past times. So he was grateful to
Shatrabandhu, like when shloka comes, where Rakshit Maharaj addresses himself as a Shatrabandhu. And he is grateful, showing gratitude to Sukdev Goswami that he is narrating the pastimes of the Lord.
Okay, Parikshit Maharaj grateful.
And Arjun was grateful when Lord departed from this world. So he was remembering that when he was there, I could win the big battle, but
correct.
no, I could not win. So he was expressing his gratitude.
Yes. First canto of the Bhagavatam, Arjuna showing gratitude to Krishna. When Krishna disappears from this world, then he's remembering, because of Krishna I could do this, because of Krishna I could do that.
Kunti Maharani, after so much miseries, again she is again asking for misery, so she is very grateful. Epitome of gratefulness.
Yes, grateful to Krishna for giving miseries.
Pratap Rudra, grateful to all Vaishnavas who helped him to come to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Okay. Maharaj Pratap. Yes, Ajamil grateful to Vishnudutas, and of course he was repenting for his own misdeeds.
Me.
Puri is humbly serving his spiritual master.
Okay, Madhavendra Puri, Ishwar Puri, congrats. So many examples are there. So anyway, one nice pastime in the life of Srila Prabhupada. So this was 1975. DT installation of Krishna Balram, Vrindavan. So recently we celebrated 50 years. And on which day? Yes, Ram Navami. So 1975 Ram Navami, there was one Srila Prabhupada's disciples named Urvashi Mataji. So she was coming to attend the festival from US. And so before coming, she went to meet her mother. And so the mother was slightly favorable. But anyway, she had a lot of respect for Srila Prabhupada. So she asked, what can I give to your spiritual master? So anyway, so Urvashi Mataji said, whatever you want, you can give. So they had some guava tree, and so Peru. And so she said, okay, I'll make guava jam. So she made guava jam, packed it in a nice bottle and gave. And so Urvashi Mataji brought the jam to Vrindavan. And then Srila Prabhupada was there. So many, hundreds of devotees from all over the world. And they were all giving so many gifts. The servant would accept the gifts and give to Prabhupada. So this Mataji also gave. And after some days, so Srila Prabhupada's servant, he came searching for this Mataji, Urvashi Mataji. So he said, so Srila Prabhupada, he tasted that guava jam and he was very happy, and he asked, who made it? So anyway, the servant forgot who gave. But somehow he remembered, and then he came searching. And then, so this Mataji went to meet Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada told this Mataji, who made this? So she said, my mother made. And then Srila Prabhupada said, oh, it was very nice. My mother also would make this. And so you thank your mother for making this guava jam. And not only that, he wrote a letter to the mother thanking her. So that is how, even though it was a small gift, but Srila Prabhupada was so grateful for even that small gift. And so, of course, there's one pastime, there are so many other pastimes, but that's how Srila Prabhupada expressed so much of gratitude. And so anyone can say, I'm grateful, but how do we express the gratitude? Yes, by serving. So anyone can say, I'm grateful, but the gratitude has to be expressed by service. Of course, We find in later on in the same fourth canto. So when Sanat Kumar gives knowledge, transcendental knowledge to Prithu Maharaj, then Prithu Maharaj says, actually, I can never repay the debt to you for receiving this knowledge. So anyone who thinks he can repay the debt to the spiritual master is Vinoda Patram, simply laughing stock, clown, Vinoda. Vinoda means humor. So anyone who thinks he can repay the debt to the spiritual master is simply a clown, because it is not possible. And Srila Prabhupada also made that same point. So it's not possible to repay the debt to the spiritual master. The only way one can try to do it is by rendering some service in the mission. So that is how we can try to repay the debt. So therefore, how much ever service one does, it is still less. So therefore, one should never think, oh, I've done so much service for ISKCON. What is ISKCON doing for me? How much ever we do, it is still less. For the rest of eternity, if we serve, it is still less. Because what we have received, what we have received? What we have received?
Eternity, Krishna. Eternity, Krishna, supreme bliss.
The highest goal, Mahadhan. Mahaprabhu says Mahadhan. What is the Mahadhan? Yes, Krishna Prem. That is what we have received. Anyway, as Rupa Goswami has glorified Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what? Namo Mahabadanyaya Krishna Prem Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratvashe Namah. So therefore, there is no comparison to what we have received. So at least we should try to do some service and not keep taking. So Prabhupada says, so if the child, okay, when he's small, he keeps taking. But then when he grows up, what he should do? He should do some service, for the parents. Not that all the time he keeps taking only. So therefore, we should do some service to repay what we have received. Of course, when Srila Prabhupada was asked, how can we repay? What did Srila Prabhupada say? Srila Prabhupada said, just accept what I have given and give it to others. That's all. So first of all, we should accept what Srila Prabhupada has given in the form of all his instructions. Okay? Okay. So here, Swayambhu Manu, he was grateful for what? For what? Yes, for the kingdom, and whatever he received, he accepted that as what he has received from the Yajna Purusham, Yajna Purusha Labdha. I have received it from the Yajna Purush, the Supreme Lord. Okay, aage padho. We'll complete the chapter and then take break.
Having entered the city of Bharishmati, in which he had previously lived, Manu entered his palace, which was filled with an atmosphere that eradicated the three miseries of material existence.
Purport.
The material world or material existential life is filled with threefold miseries. Miseries pertaining to the body and mind, miseries pertaining to natural disturbances, and miseries inflicted by other living entities. Human society is meant to create a spiritual atmosphere by spreading the spirit of Krishna consciousness. The miseries of material existence cannot affect the status of Krishna consciousness. It is not that the miseries of the material world completely vanish when one takes to Krishna consciousness, but for one who is Krishna conscious, the miseries of material existence have no effect. We cannot stop the miseries of the material atmosphere, but Krishna consciousness is the antiseptic method to protect us from being affected by the miseries of material existence. For a Krishna conscious person, both living in heaven and living in hell are equal. how Swayambhu Manu created an atmosphere wherein he was not affected by material miseries is explained in the following verses.
Okay, so what does this mean? It is not that the miseries of the material world completely vanish when one takes to Krishna consciousness. But for one who is Krishna conscious, the miseries of material existence have no effects. What does it mean?
That shloka is there that heaven or hell, but because devotee wants service only, so Narayana para sarva na kutasya vibhati.
Narayana parasarve na kutashana vibhati swarga pavarga narkeshu api tulyartha darshana. So how he develops that consciousness?
Because he's always looking for service, so he's not looking after his own pleasure. What will give him pleasure? What, where will he be comfortable? That's
okay.
why.
Okay, this is one point. Okay, fine. He is absorbed in his service. What else? Brahmbhuta Prasannatma. ठीक है. So how one can come to that Brahmbhuta stage? Okay, good. Okay, fine. So he comes above the bodily platform. So to the degree one is above the bodily platform, Brahmabhuta platform, then one is not affected by the miseries on the bodily platform. Okay, let's hear something online.
He understands, Prabhuji, that this material world is temporary and these problems are also temporary and they are going to come. Also, they all are my own karma. Tatyanukampasa sumishyamanu.
Yes.
So it is not.
Okay, so that's a good point. So Tatyanukampana susmikshmana bunjana evatma kritam vipakam. All these miseries are due to my own past misdeeds. Right? And so why does he thank? Ridvag Vapubir Vadan Namaste. Why is he thanking?
He thinks that Lord has given only token of the reaction and I am still allowed to practice devotional service.
Right. So he accepts that this is only token punishments. I was supposed to actually get much more suffering. Right. So that is how the devotee has the right attitude. So miseries cannot stop. As long as one is in the material world, miseries are definitely going to be there. But one will have the right attitude towards the miseries. That's what Prabhupada is writing here. But for one who is Krishna conscious, the miseries of material existence have no effect. We cannot stop the miseries. We cannot stop them. Devotee or non-devotee. Nature of the material world is miseries are going to be there. But Krishna consciousness is the antiseptic method to protect us from being affected by the miseries. Okay. Next, 33.
Emperor Swayambhu Manu enjoyed life with his wife and subject and fulfilled his desires without being disturbed by the unwanted principle, contrary to the process of religion. Celestial musicians and their wives sung the chorus about the pure reputation of emperor, and early in the morning, every day, he used to listen to the pastime of Supreme Personality of Godhead with a loving heart.
So, while getting up, while going to sleep, he was not hearing some Bollywood songs. What he was hearing? Hare Katha, Ridha Shrinvan Hare Katha, with the heart. Anubaddhena Ridha Shrinvan Hare Katha. Okay, so with great attachments, as Prabhupada says, loving hearts, he heard this Krishna Katha. So Prabhupada talks about, in the second paragraph, this custom is still prevalent in India in some of the royal families and temples. Professional musicians sing with shannais, and the sleeping members of the house gradually get up from their beds in a pleasing atmosphere. During bedtime also, the singers sing songs in relationship with the pastimes of the Lord, with Shana accompaniment. And the householders gradually fall asleep, remembering the glories of the Lord. In every house, in addition to the singing program, there's an arrangement for Bhagavatam lectures in the evening. Family members sit down, hold Hare Krishna Kirtan, hear narrations from Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, enjoy music before going to bed. The atmosphere created by the Sankirtan moment lives in their hearts. And while sleeping, they also dream of the singing and glorification of the Lord. So therefore, Prabhupada also said, what we should do before sleeping? Yes, read Krishna book. Then hopefully we can dream of Krishna. In such a way, perfection of Krishna consciousness can be attained. Actually, in some lectures, Prabhupada, he says one must eat for Krishna, print for Krishna, distribute books for Krishna, sleep for Krishna. He says, so this is sleeping for Krishna. In such a way, perfection of Krishna consciousness can be attained. This practice is very old, as learned from this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Millions of years ago, Swayambhu Manu used to avail himself of this opportunity to live household life in the peace and prosperity of a Krishna conscious atmosphere. As far as temples are concerned, in each and every royal palace or rich man's house, inevitably there's a nice temple, and the members of the household rise early in the morning and go to the temple to see the Mangalatik ceremony. The Mangalatik ceremony is the first worship of the morning. Prabhupada told about this family in Kanpur. You heard that? Singhania family. You heard? Prabhupada tells in 1-2 lectures, Prabhupada says. So Singhania family, the family is still there now. So it was a joint family, many families together. And there was the grandmother, so old lady. And so they have a temple. They have a big palatial house and they have a temple. And so all the members of the family are supposed to attend Mangalarti. So that old lady, she made a rule. And if anyone misses Mangalarti, they are supposed to pay fine to the pujari. That was the rule. And then Srila Prabhupada, he says, similarly in our temples also, there should be fine for those who don't attend Mangalarti. You know what's the fine? Prabhupada didn't recommend all this. Srila Prabhupada is much more smart. See? Yes. He said he must distribute at least one Krishna book. This is fine. I don't know, nobody has implemented this in ISKCON so far. This is very profitable fine, no? So it's good for the devotee also, and it's good for the institution also. Both ways there is benefit. See, Prabhupada is so business-minded. See, Mahamantra, okay, there is self-benefit, but what for society? If he goes and distributes books, then both ways it's helpful, no? For the devotee who's distributing also and for other people also. Both ways there is benefit. I think nobody heard that lecture, I think. Huh? I don't remember the exact reference. You do a Veda-based search. Somebody do. Maybe you go to the lectures and put Kanpur. You'll get. So anyway, maybe we should start at least from here. We'll start in Pune, then it will spread. You find out, huh? You send it to Radheshan Prabhu. In today's Brahmachari class. ठीक है, आगे पढ़ो. Wait. Towards the end of the purport, Prabhupada is saying, Temple worship by the royal family is also mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, where it stated that those who fail to achieve success in the Bhakti Yoga principles within one life are given a chance to take birth in the next life in a family of rich men or in a royal family of family learned Brahmanas or devotees. If one gets the opportunity to take birth in these families, he can achieve the facilities of a Krishna conscious atmosphere without difficulty. A child born in that Krishna atmosphere is sure to develop Krishna consciousness. The perfection which he failed to attain in his last life is again offered in this life again and make himself perfect. ठीक है, आगे.
Thus, Swayambhu Manu was a saintly king. Although observed in material happiness, he was not dragged to the lowest grade of life. For he always enjoyed his material happiness in a Krishna consciousness atmosphere.
Okay, so he was engaged in his material happiness, so-called material happiness, but then he was totally Krishna conscious. So he's a king, so whatever material things are required to do, he was doing, but he was totally Krishna conscious. As Prabhupada writes towards the end of this purport, Krishna consciousness does not stop them in their propensity for material enjoyment, but simply regulates their habits in the life of sense enjoyment. So, okay, so we are also enjoying our senses, no? Huh? So we also have first class prasad, chanting, dancing, feasting. So there is enjoyment, but it is done in a regulated way. In spite of their enjoying the material advantages, they can be liberated in this very life by practicing Krishna consciousness by the simple method of chanting the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Mic ko pass karo. Next.
Consequently, although his duration of life gradually came to an end, his long life consisting of a Manvantara era was not spent in vain, since he ever engaged in hearing, contemplating, writing down, and chanting the pastimes of the Lord.
Yes, so long lifespan, 1 month, 1 Manvantar. How many Divi Yugas? Yes, 71. So how many years is that? Yeah? 30 crore. Achha. Your calculation is quick, huh? Pre-calculated. Okay, Prabhupada writes, as freshly prepared food is very tasteful, but if kept for 3 or 4 hours, becomes stale and tasteless. So the existence of material enjoyment can endure as long as life is fresh, but at the fag end of life, everything becomes tasteless. Everything appears to be in vain, painful. So old men are usually very frustrated, no? But the life of Emperor Swayambhu Manu was not tasteless. As he grew older, his life remained as fresh as in the beginning because of his continued Krishna consciousness. The life of a man in Krishna consciousness is always fresh. It is said the sun rises in the morning, sets in the evening, and its business is to reduce the duration of everyone's life. But sunrise and sunset cannot diminish the life of one who engages in Krishna consciousness. Okay, open one purport. This is 3rd canto, 2nd chapter, 3rd verse. Huh?
Remembrance of Lord Krishna.
Uddhava thus served the Lord continually from childhood, and in his old age that attitude of service never slackened.
This is 3rd canto, 2nd chapter,
3rd verse.
3rd verse.
As soon as he was asked about the message of the Lord, he at once remembered all about him.
Purport.
Transcendental service to the Lord is not mundane. The service attitude of the devotee gradually increases and never becomes slackened.
Yes, service attitude of the devotee gradually increases. It never becomes slackened. So not that, oh, now we are senior, so we don't do any service. What Srila Prabhupada was doing? Day and night serving. So one should not think that, okay, as we grow old, service attitude should reduce. No, service attitude should increase. The type of service may change because of bodily inconveniences, But service attitude should increase. Continue.
Generally, in old age, a person is allowed retirement from mundane service, but in the transcendental service of the Lord, there is no retirement at all.
No retirements. No retirements.
On the contrary, the service attitude increases more and more with the progress of age. In the transcendental service, there is no satiation, and therefore there is no retirement. Materially, when a man becomes tired by rendering service in his physical body, he is allowed retirement. But in the transcendental service, there is no feeling of fatigue because it is spiritual service and is not on the bodily plane.
Yes, spiritual service, not on the bodily platform. So what becomes tired?
Body becomes
body. Soul doesn't become tired.
Service on the bodily plane dwindles as the body grows older, but the spirit is never old. And therefore, on the spiritual plane, the service is never tiresome.
Yes, on the spiritual plane, service is never tiresome. And so therefore, one who is spiritually elevated, then he can render more and more service, even though body may be old. Of course, Prabhupada is the best example for that. And of course, we have all the 6 Goswamis also. Today, Rupa Goswami's disappearance. Rupa Goswami, till the fag end of his life. Sanatana Goswami, till the fag end of his life, what he was doing? Yes, Govardhan Parikrama. So all these Goswamis, like that.
Uddhava undoubtedly became old, but that does not mean that his spirit became old. His service attitude matured on the transcendental plane, and therefore, as soon as he was questioned by Vidura about the Lord Krishna, he at once remembered his Lord by a reference to the context and forgot himself on the physical plane.
Okay, fine. What's your question? Michael?
But disabled. So she was distributing books, but she became old. So now she can't go out and distribute. But what in home she was making some chocolates. So by which she was giving to Sankirtan team. So they were distributing along with that books. By that book sales increased. So she's sitting in home and she's doing distribution.
Good. So whatever is possible. That's what I said. The type of service may change, but the service attitude doesn't reduce. Okay, let's continue. 36.
He passed his time, which lasted 71 cycles of the 4 ages, 71 into 4,320,000 years, always thinking of Vasudev and always engaged in matters regarding Vasudev. Thus, he transcended the 3 destinations.
Okay, 3 upper, middle, lower planetary system, 3 destinations. So in the second paragraph, Prabhupada writes, therefore, one who fully engages in devotional service is always liberated. Next.
Therefore, O Vidura, how can persons completely under the shelter of Lord Krishna in devotional service be put into miseries pertaining to the body, the mind, nature, and other men and living creatures?
Right. Go ahead.
In reply to questions asked by certain sages, he, Swayambhu Manu, out of compassion for all living entities, taught the diverse sacred duties of men in general and the different varnas and ashramas. I have spoken to you of the wonderful character of Swayambhu Manu, the original king, whose reputation is worthy of description. Please hear as I speak of the flourishing of his daughter Devahuti.
Thus, in the Bhagavad purports of the 3rd canto, 22nd chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled The Marriage of Kardam and Devahuti. Okay, fine. So we'll take a break and continue. Hare Krishna. Chapter 23, Devhuti's Lamentation. Text 1. Maitreya Uvacha Pitribhyam Prasthite Pitribhyam Prasthite Sadhvi Patim Ingita Kovida Nityam Paryacharat Pritya Bhavani Va Bhavam Prabhum. Maitreya continued, after the departure of her parents, the chaste woman Devhuti, who could understand the desires of her husband, served him constantly with great love as Bhavani, the wife of Lord Shiva, served her husband. So that's the comparison. So as we know, Bhavani, Mother Parvati served Shiva even though Lord Shiva doesn't have a house. He's only living on a tree. But still she's serving. Prabhupada has explained that in the purport. She served him with great love and affection, and she knew how to please him. So here we'll find quite a few purports talking about the wife's duty towards husband and how Mother Devhuti served Kardamuni. But all these principles are very much applicable to the relationship between a disciple and a spiritual master also. So as brahmacharis, we may not be so much interested, or maybe this won't be so relevant as wives and husband, but the same principles are applicable as disciples. So she served him with great love and affection, and she knew how to please him. Therefore, she is designated here Sadhvi, which means a chaste and faithful wife. Her rare example is the ideal of Vedic civilization. Every woman is expected to be as good and chaste as Devhuti or Bhavani. And then it's talking about Lord Shiva, who has a sampradaya, Vishnu Swami sampradaya. The girls are not taught to select a husband who's very rich or very opulent for material sense gratification. Rather, if a girl is fortunate enough to get a husband as good as Lord Shiva in devotional service, then her life becomes perfect. The wife is dependent on the husband, and if the husband is a Vaishnav, then naturally she shares the devotional service of the husband because she renders him service. This reciprocation of service and love between husband and wife is the ideal of a householder's life. Of course, all these should definitely be taught to grihasthas. So if anyone preaching to grihasthas, then these are all very important principles which grihasthas should know. Okay, text 2. Vishrambena atmashauchena gauravena damena cha shushushaya saurudena vacha madhuraya cha bho. Okay, read translation purport.
O Vidura, Devahuti served her husband with intimacy and great respect, with control of the senses, with love and with sweet words. Purport. Here two words are very significant. Devahuti served her husband in two ways, Vishrambhena and Gauravena. These are two important processes in serving the husband or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vishrambhena means with intimacy and Gauravena means with great reverence. The husband is a very intimate friend. Therefore, the wife must render service just like an intimate friend. And at the same time, she must understand that the husband is superior in position, and thus she must offer him all respect. A man's psychology and woman's psychology are different. As constituted by bodily frame, a man always wants to be superior to his wife, and a woman as bodily constituted is naturally inferior to her husband. Thus, the natural instinct is that the husband wants to post himself as superior to the wife, and this must be observed. Even if there is some wrong on the part of the husband, the wife must tolerate it, and thus there will be no misunderstanding between husband and wife. Vishrambhena means with intimacy, but it must not be familiarity that breeds contempt. According to the Vedic civilization, a wife cannot call her husband by name. In the present civilization, the wife calls her husband by name, but in Hindu civilization, she does not. Thus, the inferiority and superiority complexes are recognized. Damenacha, a wife has to learn to control herself even if there is a misunderstanding. So Hrudena Vacha Madhuraya means always desiring good for the husband and speaking to him with sweet words. A person becomes agitated by so many material contacts in the outside world. Therefore, in his home life, he must be treated by his wife with sweet words.
Okay, we'll go to the next verse and then we'll discuss something. Third, Visrujya kamam dambam cha dvesham lobham agam madham apramaddotyata nityam tejiyam sam atoshriyat.
Working sanely and diligently, she pleased her very powerful husband, giving up all lust, pride, envy, greed, sinful activities, and vanity.
Purport.
Here are some of the qualities of the great husband's great wife. Kardam Muni is a great by spiritual qualification. Such a husband is called Tejiyasam, Tejiyamsam, most powerful. Although a wife may be equal to her husband in advancement in spiritual consciousness, she should not be vainly proud. Sometimes it happens that the wife comes from very rich family, as did Devhuti, the daughter of Emperor Swayambhu Manu. She could have been very proud of her parentage, but that is forbidden. The wife should not be proud of her parental position. She must always be submissive to the husband and must give up all vanity. As soon as the wife becomes proud of her parentage, her pride creates great misunderstanding between the husband and wife, and their nuptial life is ruined.
Nuptial life means married life.
Devhuti was very careful about that, and therefore it is said here that she gave up pride completely. Devhuti was not unfaithful. The most sinful activity for wife is to accept another husband or another lover. Chanakya Pandit has described 4 kinds of enemies at home. If the father is in debt, he is considered to be an enemy. If the mother has selected another husband in the presence of her grown-up children, she is considered to be an enemy. If a wife does not live well with her husband but deals very roughly, then she is an enemy. And if a son is a fool, he is also an enemy. In family life, father, mother, wife, and children are assets. But if the wife or mother accept another husband in the presence of her husband or son, then according to Vedic civilization, she is considered an enemy. A chaste and faithful woman must not practice adultery. That is greatly sinful act.
Okay, we'll read the next 2 verses also. Savai devarshi varyastam manavim samanuvratam devad gariyasa patyur ashasanam mahashishah kalena bhuyasakshamam karshitam vratacharyaya prema gadgadaya vacha pidita kripaya brabhet.
The daughter of Manu, who was fully devoted to her husband, looked upon him as a greater even than providence. Thus she expected great blessing from him. Having served him for a long time, she grew weak and emaciated due to her religious observances. Seeing her condition, Kadamba, the foremost of celestial sages, was overcome with compassion and spoke to her in a voice choked with great love.
Purport.
The wife is expected to be of the same category as the husband. She must be prepared to follow the principles of the husbands, and then there will be happy life. If the husband is a devotee and the wife is a materialistic, there cannot be any peace in the home. The wife must be see the tendency of the husband and must be prepared to follow him. From Mahabharata, we learn that when Gandhari understood that her would-be husband, Dhritarashtra, was blind, she immediately began to practice blindness herself. Thus, she covered her eyes and played the part of a blind woman. She decided that since her husband was blind, she must also act like a blind woman. Otherwise, she would be proud of her eyes, and her husband would be seen as inferior. The word Samanvritaha indicate that it is the duty of a wife to adapt the special circumstances in which the husband is situated. Of course, if the husband is as great as Kadamba Muni, then a very good result accrues from the following him. But even if the husband is not a great devotee like the Kadamba Muni, it is the wife's duty to adapt herself according to his mentality. That makes married life very happy. It is also mentioned herein that by following the strict vow of chaste woman, Princess Devhuti become very skinny and therefore her husband become compassionate. He knew that she was the daughter of a great king and yet was served him just like an ordinary woman. She was reduced in health by such activity and he began become compassionate and addressed her as follow.
Take 6. Kardama uvacha tushto hamadya tava manavimanadaya shushushaya paramaya paraya cha bhaktya yo dehina mayamati vasuritsa deho na vekshita samuchita kshapitum madarte.
Kadamba Muni said, O respectful daughter of Swayambhu Manu, today I am very much pleased with you for your great devotion and most excellent loving service. Since the body is so dear to embodied beings, I am astonished that you have neglect your own body to use it on my behalf.
Purport.
It is indicated that here that one body is very dear. Yet Devhuti was so faithful to her husband that not only did she serve him with great devotion, service, and respect, but she did not even care for her own health. That is called selfless service. It appeared that Devhuti had no sense pleasure, even with her husband. Otherwise, she would not have deteriorated in health. Acting to facilitate Kadamba Muni's engagement in spiritual elevation, she continually assisting him, not caring for a bodily comfort. It is the duty of a faithful and chaste wife to help her husband in every respect, especially when the husband is engaged in Krishna consciousness. In this case, the husband also rewarded the wife. This is not to be expected by a woman who is the wife of an ordinary person.
Take 7. Ye me swadharma niratasya tapasamadhi vidyatma yoga vijita bhagavat prasada tanevate mad anusevanaya varuddhan drishtim prapashya vitaramya bhayana shokan.
Kadamba Muni continue, I have achieved the blessing of the Lord in discharging my own religious life of austerity, meditation, and Krishna consciousness. Although you have not yet experienced these achievements, which are free from fear and lamentation, I shall offer them all to you because you are engaged in my service. Now just look at them. I am giving you transcendental vision to see how nice they are.
Okay. So now, beginning from the second verse. So you come up with principles for spiritual master-disciple relationship from these verses and purports. Okay? So what are some principles in the relationship between spiritual master and disciple? Because the principles are the same. So therefore, in one of the verses, Prabhupada says, or the verse says, right? Says husband or the Supreme Personality. In one of the verses it comes, right? Huh? In second only? Yes, Prabhupada writes, yes. These are two processes in serving the husband or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So yes, so the principles apply for both. Okay, so again, you can make pairs. If you want, you change. Rather than having the same pairs, you make shift a little bit here, there. करो करो जल्दी करो. थोड़ा उठो ना, इधर उधर आ जाओ. वैसे में नींद आ रहा है. हाँ ठीक है, you all decide. I am only user. Okay, so बैठो बैठो. नहीं change. You want to change? No change. No. ठीक है. So see, we want so all of you want to all the verses, otherwise it'll take a lot of time. So we will allot one verse to one group. So you do second, third. Okay, so you do 4, 5. 4, 5, and then you do 6. And online devotees, you can do 7. Arvind, you're there no online? Yeah, online nobody is there?
Yes, please.
Okay, so you do the 7th verse. You understood now what to do? Hare Krishna.
People,
You
with
understand?
respect to, yeah, how we should serve the spiritual master in the same way like that, right?
So you find principles for relationship between spiritual master and disciple.
Yes, please.
So 7th verse and purport. And if you want to give some other shastric evidence, shastric verses, examples to support your points, you can do that. Okay, we'll give you some 5-6 minutes. हो गया? Okay, let's start. Okay, second verse. So you have
Hare
to tell
Krishna.
what is in the verse and then you correlate.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So in the verse, second verse, it is told that Vishramvena Gauravena, like one should with intimacy and with great reverence, he should serve the spiritual master. So one should know that the spiritual master is superior, and at the same time he should know that what is going on in the heart of spiritual master, what he likes, what is his understanding, what are his values. Based on that, you should serve. An example is like,
So wait. So why are both these important? So Vishrambena means what?
with intimacy,
With intimacy. And Gauravena means?
with reverence.
With reverence. So how you'll apply this? In the relationship between spiritual master and disciple,
We should not become too familiar with the spiritual master, taking him casually, like too much intimacy. Like Writer Prabhupada tells that familiarity breeds contempt. And at the same time, we should know that he is superior, and we are
okay, so that is Gauravena, right? Okay,
intimacy
so-
in the sense we should know what is going on in his heart. Like if somebody is intimate with a new and our friend, then he knows what he likes, what he does not like, what are his values, and that.
Okay. But to understand what is in another's mind is not so easy, no? That Rupa Goswami can do.
And therefore we are given
Sri
that Rupa Goswami.
Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale. We didn't explain that today. We didn't have time.
In example, we have quoted this only.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. So that is a very elevated example, no? How it's applicable for us? हमारे लिए क्या है? He wants to say something.
We can reveal our mind in confidence.
That is
to the
correct.
spiritual master.
So that is why some intimacy should be there. So if there is absolutely no intimacy, if he's always fearful, so then he cannot even speak. Correct? So then he cannot reveal the mind, he cannot reveal his problems, He cannot take advice, always fearful. So therefore, some intimacy is required, but at the same time, it should not become over familiar. And so the Gauravena also should be there with respect. So respect is also essential. Okay, some other points?
Even if the spiritual master is instructing something challenging, difficult to follow, he should take the order of the spiritual master and follow it. So, like example, like Prabhupada was instructed by Chaitanya, Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Thakur to preach in the West. He has to take sannyas, give up his. And another point that he should not, like the wife, he does not take the name of the husband in public. He does not tell her name. So similarly, we can see from Prahlad Maharaj that he also did not reveal that he got all this instruction from Narad Muni to Hiranyakashipu and everything. And unless and until there's some situation not favorable, and is one should the wife controls herself if there is a misunderstanding. So similarly, there was misunderstanding of Hridaya Chaitanya and Samanand Pandit regarding that how he has changed his name and got new tilak. So he tolerated it, and later it was revealed that this has actually happened. And one must last is that we should one please the spiritual master with sweet words, appreciate him and glorify him in everyone's presence.
Okay, fine. And there's one more point. See in the verse itself.
With
in the
love,
verse.
transition, Guruji.
See the verse.
Words. Atma Sochena.
Atma Shauchena means what?
Purity of mind and body.
So why is that important?
Purity of mind and body, I don't know, but Dhamena is separate control of senses.
When we take initiation from the spiritual master, he asks us to follow some regulative principles. And if that is not followed, then the purity of body and mind is not possible.
Correct.
So we must be following the basic regulative principle that can be considered as purity and body and mind.
Okay, so purity of avoiding sinful activities is yes, purity of body and mind, but something more?
Yeah, the purity of intentions means.
Okay, purity of intentions
means please the spiritual master.
How is purity maintained?
Purity is maintained by following the instruction of the spiritual master.
Okay, more specifically?
By hearing and chanting.
Yes, purity is by chanting the holy names. Internal purity essentially is by chanting the holy names. So, Om apavitra pavitro va sarvavastam gatopi va yasmaret pundarikaksham sabhaya abhyantara shuchi. So how shuchi is maintained? Yasmaret pundarikaksham. So the remembrance of Krishna for us in Kali Yuga, especially by chanting the holy names, hearing the Bhagavatam. So that's how purity is to be maintained, and that purity is why it's important. Purity. Why is purity important? Yes, to execute the instructions in the right spirit, right consciousness, purity is required. Yes. So all these are very important instructions. Okay, maybe we'll. So just like even in, we know the famous verse, Narad Muni is telling Yudhishthira Maharaj about all the various ashrams. So we know the famous verse. Srinarda Vacha Brahmachari Gurukule Vasandanto Guror Hitam Acharan Dasavannicho Gurau Sudruda Saurudha. Saurudha. Sudruda Saurudha means firmly situated in friendship or goodwill. So here also same thing. So Narad said, student should practice completely controlling his senses, should be submissive, should have an attitude of firm friendship for the spiritual master. With a great vow, the brahmachari should live at the Gurukul only for the benefit of the Guru. Okay, next.
Working sanely and diligently means a disciple should be intelligent.
ये intelligent नहीं है यहाँ पे. Diligently.
Sanely, working sanely means intelligent.
Sanely. Okay.
Yeah. This means one past time that Prabhupada disciple Tamakrishan Goswami Maharaj, when Mathura, his Prabhupada's son came for some money to Prabhupada. He asked him for some money to buy him home. Tamakrishan Goswami Maharaj, he know the heart of the Prabhupada. He immediately tell there is no money Prabhupada. Then he Mathura understand this person, I think.
Sure. Yeah, maybe. Good.
One should be very intelligent to understand the heart of the Gurudev, spiritual master. Then,
not so easy, Baba, to understand somebody else's heart, mind. No. So, in any case, okay, go ahead. You go ahead. We'll discuss later.
Another one should give up the all lust.
Oh.
Here another example.
Lust, kamam, dambam, dvesham, lobham, agham, madam, apramatta. So all these one has to give up.
In this regard, Giriraj Maharaj, that past time when Nair came and took him to car with prostitute.
Okay, that prostitute.
That past time. Okay. That he always remembered that glorious master Prabhupada. How can we commit the sinful activity?
Right.
On envy, the Bruhaspati or Indra, he not giving any respect to his spiritual. He became very familiar to his spiritual master. Why I woke up? Yeah.
Okay, you can say take some points from the purport.
The wife should not be proud of her position. Here, Janmasya Sutta bhi Kunti Maharani is telling that one should not be proud to his own qualification, higher study, and very beautiful, very intelligent. One should not be proud. Same thing in disciples should not be proud of his material qualification. Another thing is he must always submissive to his husband. Maybe one should think I am full of in front of the spiritual master. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also telling that I am a full Guru More Dekhi Karile Sasan.
Yes, so here also as we just saw, Charan Dasavan Nicho. So as Prabhupada in many lectures he explains, even if he is king's son, but still when he is at the Gurukul, he is like a menial servant. Just like? Yes, even Krishna.
Yeah.
Even Krishna was doing menial services at the Gurukul. Okay, anything else?
Okay.
Yes, wife should be chaste. So similarly?
He gets to hear from somebody and he uses.
Okay, yes. So chastity to the Guru, chastity to the Parampara. Not that one accepts one Guru and then after some time one leaves and accepts some other Guru from some other organization or something like that. That's greatly offensive. Very great offense. If one leaves one's bona fide Guru. So therefore, chastity to the Guru and Parampara is very important. In that context, we have that well-known pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Vallabhacharya. So, Vallabhacharya said, I wrote a commentary which is better than that of Sridhar Swami. So what Mahaprabhu said? One who rejects the Swami is a prostitute. So it has double meaning. So one, the loyalty to the Guru Parampara, very important. So we have come into devotional service through Srila Prabhupada and ISKCON, and therefore throughout our life we should remain loyal, not change that. So one cannot say that, okay, tomorrow I like Sri Sampradaya, for whatever reason, so I'll go there. No, can't do that, even though that's bona fide Sampradaya. But who brought us to devotional service? So we have to remain loyal. Otherwise, the Lord will never appreciate that, jumping here and there like monkey.
So this is said to be having in Sri Sampradaya. Means in that connect. Sri Prabodhana Saraswati was in Sri Sampradaya previously, and then he came in contact with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then he came in Gaudiya Sampradaya. Means they claim to be he is Gaudiya, means as far as our understanding. So
I have to read the details. I don't know.
Okay, Prabhu. Means I'm not urgent. It's not urgent question, but it came while the talk. So that's
no. That's what I don't. I have to see the details. I'm not aware. You know.
Arguing with Sri Vaishnavas like with this philosophy like this, and Param Pujya Radhanath Swami Maharaj like said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can do that, but we can't. He's Supreme Personality of Godhead. One time it was shared.
What Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can do? What?
He was arguing like Vaikunta Rasa and this Rasa. So once he was arguing with Sri Vaishnavas, this is ours is this and your Rasa is Das Rasa. So Maharaj said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Supreme Personality of Godhead. He might do that, but we.
Yeah, everyone is perfect at their own level. Yeah, that's correct. So, but in any case, the point is, in general, no, we cannot change sampradayas like that. So, of course, if it happens before initiation, then that's fine. Before initiation, of course, even that's not so good. I've come into devotional service because of one sampradaya, then not a very good idea to change. But okay, well, for whatever reason, if at all it happens before initiation, then it's allowed. But if one is already initiated in one sampradaya, then one cannot change, means one cannot get reinitiated in another sampradaya. One can adopt practices, one can go to other sampradaya, hear lectures, all that is allowed. But one cannot get reinitiated in another bona fide sampradaya. Giving up one's bona fide guru, one cannot do that. Okay, next. Okay, you forgot one important one. Diligently. Udyata, laboring diligently. Matlab, parishram karna. So one has to work hard for serving the Guru, for serving the mission of the Guru. So as Srila Prabhupada said, this movement is not meant for lazy people. ISKCON is not a free hotel simply for eating and sleeping. No, everyone, in one lecture, Prabhupada is saying all the managers of the movement should be very careful to see that there are no lazy people. So it's meant for those who want to work hard for Krishna. Of course, our acharyas have shown through the example. Okay, next. So one important point, as Prabhupada says, she could have been very proud of her parentage, but that's forbidden. So, as you did mention, but just to add on that, so a disciple could be materially more qualified than spiritual master, but still one should not become proud. So we have very good example in a sampradaya. Yes, Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur. Gaur Kishodas Babaji. So one was a great scholar and the other was illiterate. But still we find how Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was begging for initiation from Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj because of his spiritual qualification, right? So one should not be proud of one's material qualifications. And so in the case of husband and wife, this very much applies. We see cases where if the wife is more materially qualified than husband and the wife is very proud, big problems in family life. So therefore, even though Prabhupada is making this point very clear, actually these are all very important purports for grahasthas actually, grahastha training. These are very important purports. So even though the wife may be more qualified, but in the relation with her husband, she should always remain submissive. So in that context, Srila Prabhupada tells an incident which he has personally seen in Bombay, those days, Bombay. So he said he saw one a couple. The man, maybe he had some accident or something, but his face was totally disfigured and no proper hands and legs, and so basically they were begging. But Prabhupada says that even though the husband was in that condition, but still the wife did not leave him. She was still faithfully serving. These days, very difficult. So Chaitanya Prabhu was saying, no? No reason divorce. They can't tolerate temperature of AC. What to speak of such cases? The husband is disfigured, can't earn money, and the wife is carrying him, and then on the footpath, both are begging. So Prabhupada is telling this instant. For chastity, Prabhupada is giving this example, that how in spite of the husband being in that condition, the wife is still continuing to serve. So that is the meaning of chastity, loyalty. In any condition, one is ready to serve. So whatever, and again, we have the wonderful example of Ishwar Puri serving Madhvendra Puri till the final stages, in the final days, cleaning urine and stool and all those services for the Guru. Okay, next.
Daughter of Manu was fully devoted husband, looked upon him as greater even than Providence. So one should, our Siksha Guru Astakam it comes, Sakshat Dharitvena Samasta Shastra. So one should be treated as a Supreme Personality of Godhead because representative of Supreme.
Right. So why Sakshat Dharitvena? Why is there? Right. So he's a representative of the Supreme Lord, spreading the message of the Supreme Lord. And since the message of the Supreme Lord is non-different from the Supreme Lord, therefore he is to be considered as good as Supreme Lord. But he is not? Yes. Yes. Okay. Next.
Next. Here it is said that Devavati, she grew weak and emaciated due to religious observances. So neglecting personal comfort.
Your mic is working or no? Children.
So neglecting personal comfort for the pleasure of spiritual master.
Yes. So what do you mean? How do you apply that?
So one should endeavor to preach, so take services.
Okay, rendering services, and while rendering services, there may be some austerities, challenges, so one is ready to go through that. Yes. Finish?
It is disciple carrying same mode of spiritual master. And it is said that husband and wife should be at same same pace. So like given of example of Gandhari and Dhritarashtra. So how when she heard he was blind, she also became blind.
Right.
So one should carry the same mode.
So what does it mean? Same mode means what?
whatever spiritual master desires. So one should try to.
Okay, so basically following his instructions and adapting himself. Prabhupada especially used the word adapts. Correct? Wife's duty to adapt herself according to his mentality. Yes, that is already covered in the previous verse. The wife should not consider herself superior. But here what is said is the wife's duty is to adapt herself according to his mentality. That means based upon his mentality, what are his likes, dislikes, then she should adapt. So again, so if you take that same example of the temperature of the AC, so it's a small example, but then the husband may like something, that temperature, whatever it is. So then she should try to adapt herself, and not that he has to change according to her mentality. Actually, this is a very important point in our institution. So in our institution, we find Srila Prabhupada has given a variety of services, and different leaders within the movement have preferences for certain services, right? So then the disciple should at least try to adapt to that mentality or that preference which the spiritual master has. So these points should be considered before initiation. For example, so if the spiritual master has a liking for developing farm communities, just as an example. So then it is essential that the disciple also adapt to that mentality. So then if the spiritual master is expecting that the disciple cooperate with him in that particular type of service, so then disciple cannot say, sorry sir, I don't agree with this. I can't agree with your mood. I have a different mood. No. And then what happens? It creates frictions between guru and disciple, and then it's not a very healthy situation. Or sometimes we do find situations where so some spiritual masters, they may be very much in line with this farm communities, Gurukul and all. And there could be some spiritual masters who are not for it. They have some other preferences for some other services. And so then if the disciple says, okay, he wants to start some Gurukul or something, and then if the spiritual master says, no, do something else, do book distribution or something. So then at that time, the disciple cannot argue. The disciple cannot say that, oh, what is this? Srila Prabhupada wanted Gurukuls. There are so many instructions in Srila Prabhupada's purports and letters about the importance of Gurukul. Why we cannot establish Gurukul? No, you can't argue like that. You can't argue like that. Okay, you can humbly present your point. That is okay. But if the spiritual master says, no, we are not so much interested in that, fine. It is the duty of the disciple to adapt himself to the mentality of the guru, not the other way around. These are very important points. Otherwise, it creates frictions. And this creates problems within the society. So we're talking about spiritual master, but refers to any spiritual authority. So if the spiritual authority says, okay, he's not in favor of some particular type of service, if I'm a subordinate, I need to adapt to the mentality of the leader. We cannot expect the leader to adapt to our mentality. It's a whole wrong mentality. So therefore, so that's just the way it works. So this is, you can say, a law of nature. That's how it works. Somebody who is subordinate is supposed to adapt to the superior, not that the superior adapts to the subordinate. So I can present myself in a humble way, but I cannot demand. So just like we were given that example yesterday about the disciple who wanted to build a temple. Correct? So if the guru is saying wait, he's supposed to wait. Not that, no, why should I wait? Congregation is increasing, this, that. No. He has to adapt. Otherwise, it creates a lot of frictions and so many tensions and relationships spoiled, communities break, and so much nonsense happens. Yes, bro. Oh, Mike, माइक में बोलो. वो ऑनलाइन आपको सुनाई दे रहा है ना क्या चल रहा है?
Yes,
Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, it's very clear that we should not argue with the spiritual master, and it's very, very rare circumstances disciple argues with the spiritual master. But most of the problems comes with the authority.
So that is what
authority is selected by the spiritual master.
So yes, so therefore the spiritual authorities, we are talking of spiritual master, but then we are referring to spiritual authorities in general. The same principles apply.
So what happens sometimes spiritual master gives sometimes some direct instruction to the disciple, and the mood of the authority is quite different. And when we try to negotiate, understand, they write letter to the spiritual master, and then according to the authority push, spiritual master changes his instruction, and like this happens. So sometimes then it creates a kind of problem. So
no, there is no problem. There is no problem. So you have attended IDC, ISKCON Disciples Course, you have attended.
Yes.
So there this entire topic is presented. When there's a difference of opinion between spiritual authority and spiritual master, then what the disciple should do? Yes. The disciple's duty is not to take sides. Disciple's duty is not to say that, oh, my Diksha Guru is giving this instruction, so therefore this instruction is more important than this instruction. That's not for the disciple to decide. When there's a difference of opinion between Diksha Guru and managerial authority, the disciple's only duty is to say, both of you decide and give me one instruction. That's all. The disciple should not think that Diksha Guru's service is more important than managerial authority. No, that's not for the disciple to decide. Because this is an institution. And an institution, both spiritual authorities, managerial authorities, both are important, equally important. And so therefore, disciples should not take sides. Disciples should allow both the authorities to come together, decide for themselves what is best for the disciple, and give a common instruction.
Okay, thank you.
That is proper etiquette. Okay, so this is an important point. So when we are talking about spiritual master in all these verses, we are not only referring to spiritual master, we are referring to all spiritual authorities. Okay, in ISKCON, spiritual authorities, managerial authorities, all are authorities. And so because management is also spiritual, because it is a spiritual organization. So all these principles are also applicable to spiritual authorities, because we may not directly contact our Diksha Guru so often. So therefore, we are talking about these principles in relationship to all spiritual authorities. So just like we were discussing the point yesterday, right? About Sanatana Goswami and the king, the Nawab. So Nawab wanted to punish Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami said, okay, whatever you decide. You are the king. You are Naradev. You represent Supreme Lord. You decide. So just like today also we are saying, Rupa Goswami also, he tells, you decide who's this person. You ask your own mind. So that is how, when there is a proper relationship between a subordinate and superior, then things go on smoothly. Otherwise, the entire institution will suffer. So one has to. So then, before one gets into some formal relationship, either with the spiritual authorities or with Diksha Guru or whoever, before one gets into a formal relationship, one should consider all these points. So if one thinks that one has a certain mood and he wants to stick to that, then yes, he can select some authority who also has the same mood. So these things have to be considered before, but not after. Once there is a relationship, then one has to adapt. You have something?
Here it is said by her austerities. So finally, Kardamuni was pleased and he was compassionate upon her. So here from this Yasha Prasada, Bhagavad Prasada. This.
Yes. Okay. So when the spiritual master is pleased, then he'll give benedictions. So yes, so Princess Devati became very skinny and therefore her husband became compassionate. So yes, so while rendering services, one may have to forego one's bodily comforts. So we find Srila Prabhupada's disciples, how much they sacrificed? Bodily comforts. We all read Jew story, right? Jew story. So I don't remember exactly who is this Mataji telling this pastime in that book. I don't know if it was Vishaka Mataji or which Mataji, I don't remember. But then, you know, they were living in that sort of some thatched hut sort of thing in the middle of that Jew land, filled with all mosquitoes and rats and whatnot. It was just like a broken down hut. And so this Mataji, she was sleeping in the room which did not have any windows. No, window was there, but there was no, there was no glass or anything. It was open, just an open space. And so many mosquitoes. So she was sleeping in a mosquito net. And in the middle of the night, she felt as if she was being dragged. And she woke up and she saw that a camel had swallowed the mosquito net. Camel. So a camel had come and then the camel was pulling the mosquito net. That was the situation. It is there. I don't know if it was there in the book or I heard it from somebody else. I don't know. But I think so it's there in the book, Jew story. So, but in any case, so many austerities, so unbelievable, unimaginable. And even when the Western devotees came for the first time to Kumbh Mela, 1970, so much austerity, so much austerity. Their only solace was Srila Prabhupada was present. That was their only solace. Otherwise, Kumbh Mela, January time, it was cold, no heat. They have no such experience. No proper running water, nothing. Now, of course, Kumbh Mela arrangements are 5-star level. But in those days, it was not like that. But all these Western devotees, so much they tolerate. So, in fact, it said that some of the Prabhupada disciples, they are still suffering from bad health due to all those austerities that they underwent those days. Just like Giriraj Maharaj. So, but definitely we should remember that Srila Prabhupada will be pleased by those austerities that they did. Okay, next. 6th, right? Tushtoham. That's what Kardamuni says. Tushtoham, satisfied. Padho jaldi. Read the translation first.
Kardamuni said, O respectful daughter of Swayambhava Manu, today I am very much pleased with you for your great devotion and most excellent loving service. Since the body is so dear to embodied beings, I am astonished that you have neglected your own body to use it on my behalf.
Bolo?
So we can see that how Devahuti neglected her own health in service of Kardamani. Similarly, a disciple should not bother much about his own health. And while engaged in
Bother
service.
much means how much?
He should be functional. He should be functional.
Functional means what?
He should be able to do his service. Till then, it's if he has gotten sick, he has got fever or something, then he's not up to the mark.
थोड़ा जोर से बोलो.
If he has become sick or if he has got fever, he is admitted or he has got some disease, so now he's not up to the 100% potential. So he should keep up to the 100% potential. That is the minimum.
Okay, so basic level of health should be maintained. So then what does it mean then here? Deteriorated in health.
I guess this deterioration means she might have become skinny, but she might be working to the full potential.
Okay.
This is what I could understand.
Okay, so the fat content can reduce.
Yes.
वो माइक के सामने देखो, माइक सामने.
That story is there for the disciple. He sent his disciple to block the water.
Right.
He not consider Aruni. That is not consider his health.
That's of course, if spiritual master himself gives instruction like that, that's a different thing. Of course, there also I don't think so. He gave an instruction to lie down over there. He gave an instruction basically to block the water.
Yeah.
But not finding any other means to block the water, he lay down there. So
that time he is not consider his body.
Right. So those are very extreme cases. But of course, as we already discussed about Srila Prabhupada disciples, so they did the need of the hour and definitely they sacrificed their health for serving Srila Prabhupada those days. So if there is a great need, then yes, one may have to little bit sacrifice more than what is beyond one's comfort zone, right? And not always be in the comfort zone, but agree to stretch oneself a little more than being in the comfort zone, right? Any other points?
So here Devahuti served Kardamani with great devotion and loving service.
Right.
So therefore disciples should learn to serve spiritual master with great devotion and with love.
You have some examples?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu served Ishwarapuri. When he came at Gaya to meet him, he prepared khichdi for him, and similarly Ishwarapuri serving Madhavendra Puri.
Okay, Ishwarapuri serving Madhavendra Puri, that's right. So Prabhupada says it's the duty of faithful and chaste wife to help her husband in every respect. That's what Prabhupada is writing. In every respect means what? Whatever help is required. So not based on my choices. I will do only this, I will do only that. In every respect. So whatever is the need of the hour, whatever the spiritual master wants, one should be ready. Just like here it is said, Acharan dasavan nicha. So dasavat, proper translates as very humbly like a slave. Slave. Prabhupada says in one lecture, sometimes people accuse that in Krishna consciousness we are making everyone into slaves. Slave mentality. But that's good. Being a slave for the spiritual master, that's good. So yes, so whatever is required, one should agree to do. Okay, fine. Okay, 7th verse. Do you have something more?
So in the end of the purport, Prabhupada tells that Because Kardama Muni was a great yogi, he rewarded amply. But if ordinary person cannot expect from ordinary person. So similarly, a disciple should not have any expectation of a reward from spiritual master.
Correct. Yes, you should not have expectations. If we get something, that's fine. Okay. Okay, good. Now 7th verse.
Yes, Prabhu. I have achieved the blessings of the Lord in discharging my own religious life of austerity, meditation, and Krishna consciousness. Although you have not yet experienced these achievements, which are free from fear and limitation, I shall offer them all to you because you are engaged in my service. Now just look at them. I am giving you the transcendental vision to see how nice they are. So till now, how the disciple should be serving the spiritual master was told, and this shows the result of serving the spiritual master in the way we just discussed now. So here Prabhupada says that that devotee was not supposed to be advanced in austerity or meditation or Krishna consciousness also. But imperceptibly, she was sharing her husband's achievements, which she could neither see nor experience. So this came up automatically. So here the point which is emphasized is that by serving the spiritual master like this menially, we also get the realizations which he has.
Yes.
So as Krishna Kirtan was telling, Yasya prasadat bhagavad prasadat. So ultimate prasad, which is the ultimate realization of the Lord and experience of the Lord, that one achieves by serving the Guru in this way, in this mood. And for this, later on, Prabhupada quotes the example of Narada boy also. How he served the Bhakti Vedantas. And that's how he got, he developed detachment from the worldly things. Even his own mother was taken away. And he could see the Lord also for some time.
Yes.
And later on became happiness.
Good.
And some more example I was just remembering was of Narottam Das Thakur also. That he was also serving his Guru Loknath Goswami by cleaning the stool and urine very menially. And it comes that gradually by in his sadhana, of course in Nitya Siddha, but it is said that gradually in his sadhana, in his japa, he was experiencing the name and form of the Lord and pastimes of the Lord, and he was doing his bhajan. So these relations he was getting.
Right. Good.
Same way. Yes,
Okay, Panduranga Prabhu has something to say?
Same point, Soji, but this by serving spiritual master, when he sees that we are not qualified, but we have done our best, whatever best we can to please him in his service to his spiritual master, then he blesses us with the divine vision, like mentioned here. Although we are not qualified, like Chakshudan Diloje, so that is blessed. And then the two things mentioned in purport again is like Abhaya is given. The fearlessness one gets, because mainly as Prabhupada mentioned that we get a spiritual asset, spiritual richness, not material richness. Material example Prabhupada gives, material $1 million millionaire has always fearful of losing. But because spiritual master gives something beyond the world, then the disciple becomes Abhaya, although is not qualified, but it's blessed after pleasing him. And then we get the highest perfection of Bhagavad Prasad or divine mercy, that through Krishna Prem. And one devotee gets the main thing, what devotee gets is a realization and a vision that there is no comparison between material and transcendental happiness.
Yes.
That's the reward he gets, and with that vision, everything becomes solved and for eternity, and he gets situated in his eternal position. And that's why simply by serving spiritual master, you can achieve all the mercy of the Lord. And here, like the Muni says, he has achieved, so our spiritual master has achieved from his spiritual master. So only by mercy and blessings can it be given, not otherwise by our own endeavors, because we are already unqualified, like here.
Okay, good. Yes, good points. So just like we have the example of His Holiness Bhakti Swami Maharaj, who was distributing books behind the Iron Curtain, the communist countries, risking his life. And so then when he met Srila Prabhupada, so of course, he would send regular reports to Srila Prabhupada about his preaching, and then Srila Prabhupada would be very happy and proud, and he would even tell guests who would come to meet him about this book distribution that was happening in the communist countries. So Srila Prabhupada was very happy, and he would actually say towards his final days that how those book distribution reports are giving him life. And so when actually Bhakti Maharaj at that time, Ghanshyam Prabhu, he met Srila Prabhupada, and Tamal Krishna Maharaj introduced him and told him that, yes, this is the person who is distributing books in the communist countries. Srila Prabhupada was so happy. Srila Prabhupada embraced him and said, your life is perfect. Mm-hmm. So that is the ultimate blessing somebody can get. Mm-hmm. So that's how, and of course, by those blessings, then we can see how Bhakti Maharaj, what a glorious passing away in full transcendental Krishna consciousness. So that's the ultimate blessing one can get.
Also, Guruji, that Chaitanya Chaitamrit was compiled in 3 months. At the end, Prabhupada said,
2 months, not 3.
Oh, sorry, 2 months.
Don't extend by 1 month. That's history. That's na bhuto na bhavishyat. It was never happened in the past, and it's never going to happen. That's just causeless mercy, because Rameshwar Prabhu and the entire BBT staff agreed to surrender to that desire of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada's mercy just manifested through their surrender. And they did something which was impossible, humanly impossible, but of course not spiritually impossible. Because Prabhupada said, impossible is a word in the fool's dictionary. So on the spiritual platform, everything is possible. In the morning also we were quoting this verse of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Dushkaram sukaram bhavet. Even that which is very difficult will become very easy. And that's exactly what happened over there. And with that, it's an amazing pastime. Some other time we can discuss that.
In purport, Narad Muni's example is also given.
Yes.
Previous life.
Yes, previous life. Yes, so Prabhupada is writing here. What are the graces of the Lord? It is stated here that the graces of the Lord are abhaya, free from fearfulness, but not the material type of fear. But the benediction of the Lord, Bhagavat Prasad, is never to be lost. It is simply to be enjoyed. There is no question of loss. One simply gains and enjoys gaining. Sarva Dukhani. When situated in the transcendental position, one is freed from the 2 kinds of material diseases, hankering and lamentation. So that's the gain. One becomes free from Brahmbhuta Prasannatma, no shochati na kankshati. So that is also stated in Bhagavad Gita. After devotional life begins, we can achieve the full result of love of God. And love of Krishna is the highest perfection of Bhagavad Prasad or divine mercy. This transcendental achievement is so greatly valuable that no material happiness can compare to it. So this is what one receives by the mercy of the Lord. And so, by the grace of Kardamoni, Devati experienced actual realization of this Krishna Prem simply by serving. And then he's giving an example of Narad Muni, and then he says, for spiritual achievement, the easiest path is to take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master and to serve him with heart and soul. That is the secret of success. Said by Vishnu Chakravarti, Yasya Prasadat, Bhagavad Prasado. By serving or receiving the grace of the spiritual master, one receives the grace of the Supreme Lord. And so Devati shared in Kardamuni's achievements, and the last sentence is important. Similarly, a sincere disciple, simply by serving a bona fide spiritual master, can achieve all the mercy of the Lord and the spiritual master simultaneously. So that is what one achieves simply by serving. That's all what one has to do. Okay, fine. So we'll stop over here. Continue tomorrow. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Samrit Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.